Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Wednesday, January 3rd. So the moon is going to be in Libran energy all day. We shifted into this Libran energy last evening, and of course we didn't get too many aspects with the moon in Libra. We just kind of sat in that pause, in that shift, giving us a little bit of a mini break to kind of collect our thoughts, to get in alignment, to really just kind of observe. Now, the whole point of the moon being in Libran energy is to find balance, to find equilibrium. We've already done the processing with the moon in Virgo to sort out what needs to stay, what needs to go, what kind of, loose ends needed to be tied up from the old in order to actually have a clean slate to focus on the new. We've done the detailed work in our thoughts, in our emotions, in our physical lives under the influence of the moon in Virgo. Now we're kind of taking a look at what is left, and the Libran energy is going to attempt to balance those scales. Now, just because the attempt is to balance the scales between our heart and our head, our inner realm, our outer realm, the old versus new, just because we are looking for peace, for harmony, for happiness, for joy in all that we do, doesn't mean that it's going to come right away. And most oftentimes, we have to kind of sit through the moon in Libra transit, experiencing the extremes before we ever reach that middle point. So I think it's also notable to kind of say that we're building towards the last quarter moon taking place in this Libran energy, which of course the last quarter moon is always a time of reflection back over this past month. What happened under the new moon? What happened under the full moon? Where things have ended? Where things are beginning? This is kind of like a reflection and reprocessing type of perspective. We're going to continue to sort out the highs from the lows, the good from the bad, the old from the new, and again, achieve a common middle ground, almost like stabilizing our particular thoughts and emotions and circumstances so that, again, once we move forward and the moon moves into Scorpio energy, that is the major change, major transformation in our inner realm that is needed in order for us to break away from what once was, to anchor into what currently is, and to start focusing in on what could be. So this is also the last day that Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desire, going to be in the Sag energy. We're moving into Capricorn energy here tomorrow. There is an astro forecast out for this particular event if you want to take a listen. If you haven't listened to January's energy forecast overview, I'm going to recommend you take a listen. And of course, if you haven't downloaded your zodiac forecast for the month, I'm going to recommend you do that. You can join me over on Patreon. There is so much bonus content, calendars, little types of, of course, you're getting access to all the zodiac forecasts over there, all 12. But we're really doing a deep dive into Patreon here this year. So if you're looking for those resources, you can jump on over, or of course, you can find them on my website. So basically what we're getting at here today is that when we are finding a planet, and in this case, we're talking about Mars, reaching the final degrees of a sign, and in this instance, we're talking about Sag energy. We reach those final degrees. There's always a little bit of pressure. There's always a little bit of intensity. And this is definitely going to put us in a situation where we're going to feel that restlessness. We're going to feel those ants in our pants. We're going to feel like we're just ready to hulk out and scream because we don't know what to do with all this energy building up within us. That's okay. Take a listen to the ascension forecast that I put out for this week so that you understand where the physical symptoms are kind of being triggered and activated and what it is that we can do about it, especially with these particular energetic shifts. So with that being said, there are 12 different aspects here today, a relatively busy day in the cosmos compared to some of the other days that we have going on here this week. 8 of these aspects are going to involve the moon. So the moon in this Libran energy, right out of the gate, making a tough interaction with Saturn. Saturn, of course, is the lord of karma, ruling over our, karma, roles, responsibilities that we're bossing up into. We're really challenging ourselves to get disciplined, to tap into a new level of willpower. And because, again, Saturn is in this Pisces energy, we're definitely looking to restructure our lives now according to the change of heart, the change of mind, the change in our our belief system, the change in our vision, the change in our dream. So it's almost like this particular interaction is giving us a little bit of an emotional reality check, if you will, making us very heavy, very weighted, very pressurized on all that we have to do. That's weighing very heavily on us right now. What do we have to do to clean up the residue, the fragments, the debris of the past? What do we have to do to start building this new foundation, this new structure in our lives in order to get us from where it is that we're at to where it is that we desire to be? The Libran energy, of course, wants to stay in the shallow end of our emotions, everything light and fluffy and, everything just tickety-boo. Saturn energy is like, nope, that's not how life works. You got to get real. You got to get raw. You got to get vulnerable with yourself. You need to be very focused, very heavily weighted with these roles and responsibilities so that you're not just out there having fun. We're actually building towards a common goal. So again, a little bit of tension, a little bit of conflict in that particular interaction. The moon in Libra are then going to make an awkward interaction with Uranus. Uranus, of course, is the great awakener. He's currently retrograde in this Taurus energy. And this is going to definitely put us in a situation where we're hella confused, where we're hella overwhelmed, if you will. Normally, in a positive aspect, Uranus would give us an aha moment, throw a puzzle piece at us to kind of reveal the greater, grander picture of what it is that we need to do, what it is that we need to change. But this particular interaction is just going to turn the volume all the way up on the confusion, on not knowing which way to go, not knowing what the answer is, not knowing what it is that needs to change, not even knowing how to go about doing that. We need to sit in the confusion in order for us to get in alignment with our heart space, with our head space, so that we can find the clarity. The answers are already within us. We just have to kind of sort through the inner dialogue and the emotions, if you will, in order to unpack what it is that we're actually confused about and where it is that we can resolve these particular issues by getting real, raw, and vulnerable with ourselves and really listening to our higher selves over our egoic programming. Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money, she's making an awkward interaction with Jupiter. And heads up, the moon is going to be making just the same kind of awkward interaction with Jupiter shortly thereafter. So the Venus actually rules over the Libran energy that the moon is currently in. So this is like a double whammy, if you will. We have Venus in this Sag energy. She's trying to push the boundaries of her comfort zone. She's trying to kind of open herself up, be free to understand where it is that she's had a change of heart, change of values, change of priorities, especially where relationship dynamics and money matters are concerned. Jupiter, who is the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings, Jupiter just turned direct in this Taurus energy. So we're talking about really taking a good look at our physical realms, really taking into fact and in consideration where it is that we're no longer in alignment with some of the aspects that we've already brought to life in our physical realm. And because Venus is involved, this is likely going to highlight the disconnect, the detachment that we're currently feeling in some relationship dynamics. This is putting us in a situation where we're having a hard time grasping that visual that we should be kind of, building ourselves up towards as far as new goals and new ambitions go, where love and money is concerned. And so right now we're just feeling overwhelmed. We're feeling a little bit blocked. We don't know the path. We don't know the plan. We can't even identify right now what it is that our heart wants us to do. And then the moon goes ahead, makes the same kind of interaction with Jupiter. And this is definitely putting us in a situation where we're all out of whack. There's no balance. There's no peace. There's no harmony. We're actually like losing ourselves in the negative narrative, in our fears, in our doubts, in our insecurities, especially when it comes to realizing what it is that we want to build, what we want to change, what we want to create, especially where opportunities for growth, change, transformation are concerned. We don't know what that even looks like right now, where we're putting a lot of pressure on ourselves to figure it out, but the visual isn't coming. And so that doesn't feel like a very good space, a very good energy to sit in. Lucky for us, it doesn't last very long. The moon in Libra is going to sextile, beautiful interaction with Venus. So this is almost like, whoo, okay. We need a timeout. We need to reset here. We need to ground. We need to bring ourselves back into our heart space. We need to be in our physical bodies. We need to get real and raw and vulnerable with what it is that we're thinking, what it is that we're feeling. The sextile means that when we do kind of, get ourselves together here, we are going to realize where it is that we do have different wants, needs, desires. We do have different values. We do have different goals. We want something different other than what it is that we're currently kind of, playing out. in our daily lives, especially where relationship dynamics and money matters are concerned. So now we're getting on the same page to really identify what it is that we care about, what it is that we want more of, what it is that we want to build and create so that we can just be happy and feel, a sense of contentment, a sense of peace, a sense of ease. This is a realization. This is coming out of the fog, out of the confusion. Venus is then going to interact with the North Node in Aries, though, in not the nicest way. And so even though we have this, I'm going to say, general epiphany of what it is that our heart is asking us to pursue, what it is that we need to do for ourselves, what we want to build and create in our lives in order to be a little bit more safe, secure, and stable, happy, joyful. Now it's like, okay, so how do we go about doing that? We don't know how to go about doing that. We don't even know the first move to make. That North Node in Aries is trying to get us on this path in order for us to be more independent, for us to take the leadership role, for us to put our own wants, needs, and desires ahead of everybody else's. But we're having a hard time doing that because we're still working on breaking away from these people-pleasing type of qualities that, of course, the South Node in Libra has been anchored into for a very long time. And this is just not the right time, the right kind of situation for us to realize where it is that we can just boss up, boss out in this warrior type of spirit and just cast away all of our, I'm going to say, common goals with the people around us to put ourselves first. We're having some resistance here to figure out how, now that I've identified what it is that I want for myself, how am I supposed to share this information with the people around me when I've already committed or made some kind of plans to have common goals that are now conflicting with what it is that I want to do for myself. The moon in Libran energy going to make a positive interaction with Saturn. So this is like a reality check on, okay, well, if I continue to put other people's wants, needs, and desires ahead of my own, then we're only going to get what it is that I've already got because I've already been giving my power away to do what everybody else wanted to do. And I just figured out what it is that I want to do for myself. And what that means is that I'm going to have to be bold, brave, and courageous enough to actually tell these people that I'm kind of backing out in some regard to some of the plans. I'm not really feeling it anymore. How to change of heart, how to change of mind. What I want to do now is start building something for myself, something that is safe and secure, something that is going to help stabilize me, something that is going to fulfill me. Again, we've had a change in our belief system, in our soul, in our spirit. That's the Pisces energy that Saturn is currently in. He is trying to build something out of the rubble, out of the damage, out of the destruction of the old version of self, of that old reality. So this is a positive interaction. It means that we're finally starting to see that if we were to put ourselves first, or at least put ourselves equal to the people that we pour into, that we could still build something for ourselves while still kind of aligning with the obligations and commitments that we've made to other people. Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desires, again, in the final degrees of the Sagittarius energy, putting some intensity in our bodies, let's say, restlessness, ants in our pants. Mars is going to be making a positive interaction with Pluto, the great transformer himself, who happens to be in Capricorn energy. At the final degrees, this is why these two are coming together, because they're nearing the final degrees of both of their respected signs. So we have the god of war and the god of the underworld working together. Okay, so first of all, this is going to turn up the intensity, if you will, on what it is that we're thinking, what it is that we're feeling, especially where frustration and agitation of not being able to make moves and move forward go. But this is a positive interaction, which means that the intensity of the new ideas that we're having, of the new goals that we're setting, of the new action plan that we're currently piecing together, we're able to easily strategize and focus on what needs to be done, starting with where it is that we need to boss up, be a little bit more brave, bold, courageous enough to declare what it is that we need to be doing for ourselves, make the change, make the transformation, again, Pluto energy, in order to break away from the systems, routines, foundations, and structures, again, the Capricorn energy that Pluto is in order to kind of free ourselves, Sagittarius energy that Mars is in order to do what it is that we need to be doing for ourselves first and foremost. We have new passions, we have new desires, we have new needs that we need to fulfill. And it does require us to kind of detach from some of the obligations and commitments that we've made to other people in order to pour into ourselves. The moon in Libran energy going to make a positive interaction with Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, communication, how it is that we express ourselves, who just went direct in Sagittarius energy, giving us a different perspective, giving us a different meaning to some of the situation circumstances that have definitely unfolded, that we're trying to pluck the silver linings out of in order to kind of gain a little bit of a bigger perspective on where it is that we can go from here. The moon representing our heart space, Mercury representing our head space. They're working together. They're on the same page. They're actually balancing each other out. Emotionally speaking, we just want to be happy. We just want to feel safe. We just want to feel secure. Mercury is providing us the bigger, broader picture, the ideas, the vision, if you will, on how it is that we could provide those things to ourselves. This is an aha moment. This is a download. This is receiving a huge amount of profound insight on where it is that we want to go from here. The sun in Capricorn energy, shining a bright light on our long-term goals, shining a bright light on the existing structures, routines, foundations that we are either going to continue to strengthen and build upon, or that we're going to kind of destroy, collapse, if you will, freeing us up to kind of build something better in the place of the things that are no longer encouraging or supporting us in moving towards the kind of direction, the kind of path, towards the kind of goals that we now have that we didn't have even this time last month. The sun is going to be interacting with Neptune. Neptune is in his place of power in Pisces energy. This is our spirituality. This is our intuition. This is our imagination. This is creative life force energy. This is inspiration. This is our higher selves giving us a visual on what it is that we want to pursue from here. What I love about this is that the Pisces energy, very kind of imaginative, very fantasy-like. If it sparks something in us, meaning triggering some kind of excitement, some kind of, let's call it passionate emotion for us to pursue it in, the sun in Capricorn is going to bring it to life, give it form, stabilize a foundation for it to actually manifest. Again, Capricorn energy is the great manifestor energy. And if we have a vision, a goal, a dream being downloaded to us from our higher selves in the Pisces energy, we are going to feel this intuitive pull towards bringing this particular vision to life. So this is a beautiful thing, and we can kind of refresh ourselves, I'm going to say spiritually speaking, to remind ourselves that guess what? We just need to have a little bit of faith, not only in the greater, grander plan, but within ourselves. We have what it takes to do whatever it is that we want to do, whatever it is that we need to do to kind of switch things up, get on the right path, and build something beautiful. 10:31 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to have the moon in Libra square off, get into the boxing ring, create tension and conflict with the sun in Capricorn energy. This is what gives us our last quarter moon phase. So typically speaking, Libran energy, Capricorn energy, they have a hard time getting along anyways. The Libran energy, again, wants to stay in the shallow end, constantly trying to make everybody happy, not want to rock the boat, so to speak. Capricorn energy really doesn't care about any of that. We're going to do a deep dive, and we don't really care who it is that we're going to upset by recognizing our own goals, our own ambitions, and what it is that we have to do in order to actually reach said goals. So there is a little bit of friction here, but again, a square is supposed to highlight the tension and the conflict. And in this particular instance, we're going to have a new level of awareness emerge out of our unconscious selves on where it is that, guess what? You can't build a solid foundation when the scales are constantly back and forth and up and down and ebbing and flowing. Again, that stability energy that we need to tap into from the Capricorn season that we're currently in. Stability is the name of the game, not this up and down, back and forth, staying in the shallow end type of thing. We have to get grounded. We have to get logical. We have to get in this present moment to figure out where it is that our emotions, our mind space, or our physical realms are out of whack, and where it is that we have to kind of destabilize those particular areas in order to stabilize a new foundation, new system, new structure for us to be moving forward in. So this is like an aha moment, if you will, on where it is that we're the one rocking the boat, and where it is that if we just sat still long enough, not only would the boat stabilize, but our emotions would stabilize, our mental plane would stabilize, and from that, clarity for our long-term path, our direction will come. The last thing that we have going on here today is the moon in Libran energy making a positive interaction with Uranus. I love this because Uranus, he's the great awakener. He's like, boom, there you go, lightning bolt, never thought of that. Boom, here you go, break away from the old, try something new. boom, here's something that now you're going to have an aha moment about that you can't unknow, that is definitely going to kind of push the boundaries on where it is that you need to break away from what once was, start standing in what currently is in order to figure out what it is that you want this to be. This is an emotional shift like no other, a change in our mood, a change in our attitude, a change in our perspective on where it is in our physical realm. Things are out of whack. Again, the moon in Libra just wants to bring things into harmony, bring things into balance. Well, take a good look around at your physical realm. Take a good look at the fears, the doubts, the insecurities that you're currently having. Taking a look at your physical realm and understanding where it is that you're no longer in alignment with some of these things and what is required of you to make this change, to make this transformation. This is a time of building ourselves up, again, finding balance between our heart and our head so that we can engage the physical body to take action. Again, Mars moving into Capricorn energy, going to be a huge help there. Listen to that astro forecast. In order to make the changes and the transformations that at this particular moment, we are a little bit nervous about. So this is going to be a major, major zap to our energy, to our inner realm, to our perspective, to our emotions, to see where it is now that we have to build ourselves up, to be bold, to be brave, to be courageous enough to do the hard things, to just happen to be the right things in order to clear out the old and clean the space, clean the slate so that we can start building towards the new.